Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sportsballin, your home for all things sports. My name is Ethan Markham, and as always, I'm joined by Connor Smith and Jace Vincent. You guys ready to talk some ball?
Dude, I'm so pumped. Best day of the week. Let's get after it.
Episode 10 on the way, so let's get it going. Should be a fun episode.
Absolutely. We'll dive right on into it. The NFL draft is just days away, and the Titans hold the first overall pick for the first time since 1978. While it's almost guaranteed as to who the Titans will pick, we figured we'd give our opinions on what the Titans should do anyway. Jace, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think it's Cam Ward, obviously. I know Connor differs a little bit there, but I think that Tennessee is ready to move on from Will Levis. So I think the organization as a whole is ready for a new quarterback. I know this draft class isn't really the one for a quarterback, but I think if you're going to go with a quarterback, you'd rather have Cam Ward, and they're really in talks, and I think Cam Ward's really the move here for Tennessee.
You know, for me personally, I think it's got to be Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter. I mean, the guy's an absolute animal, best player in the draft. Last season posted 68 tackles, 12 sacks, 24 TFLs, and 66 pressures, first-team All-American. I think this guy just screams Will Anderson Jr. clone. And although quarterback's more important than edge rusher, like Jay said, this is not the draft to reach for a quarterback next year. You have guys like Kay Klubnik, Arch Manning, so on and so forth. And I get those kind of guys are projections and, like, you know, you're hoping they break out. But at the same time, with how weak this quarterback class is, I'd be willing to take that risk and instead go with Abdul Carter, the best player in the draft. No discussion.
I absolutely agree with that. My opinion on it's a little bit different, actually. I think
Okay.
you don't take anybody. You trade back. You need draft picks. The Titans have so many issues with their team. I mean, there are very few positives when you look at their roster. Just taking Cam Ward would not fix everything, and it wouldn't even be close. If you want to get the rebuild started, I'd say you trade back, get as many picks as you can in this year's draft and next year's, and try to find some sleeper guys. You know, you were looking at mine earlier. I think Luther Burden is a guy you could trade back if you still wanted a receiver, right? So I think a package there is you trade back, get like 28th, 29th pick, that and some change. If you still wanted to go to the edge position, you could get James Pierce Jr., right? You could trade back again, get more capital. I don't think I agree with Chase's point that I don't think this is the class to draft a quarterback. I just don't. I don't think the talent is there.
It's not, and like you said, the Titans are not even close to contending. So at that point, like they're not a quarterback away. They're not 2 or 3 positions away. So why would you reach on a quarterback when you can get the best player overall in the draft? But to your point, I think if you do trade back, there's several good players. You've got Tedoroa McMillan, Matthew Golden, receiver. You've got the offensive tackles, Irsay from Minnesota, Will Campbell, LSU. There's so many good players that if you wanted to trade back, you definitely could.
Absolutely.
I think it all just depends on how far back you trade. The top 5 picks are almost always expected to be stars, or at least among the best of their class. So we've decided to discuss our top 5 picks as well as our overall thoughts on this year's draft.
You know, for me, I said in the first part, I think Abdul Carter needs to go to the Titans. I think he's the best player in the draft for the reason I listed. Great frame, great size, Will Anderson Jr. clone. That guy had 11 sacks this year in his second season. Pretty good if you ask me. Going to number 2, I really like Travis Hunter to the Browns. They like him more as a receiver, and I think he's probably better as a receiver than a corner anyways. He can play maybe a little bit of both sides, have a few packages on defense. Number 3, Mason Graham going to the Giants. This guy is a game wrecker on the interior defensive line. Christian Wilkins, Jonathan Allen type player. I think he's perfect for what the Giants need because they got Russell Wilson. They're not going to take a quarterback. They've got their quarterback. So interior defensive line could be maybe even the best overall prospect this year, but there's a lot of good guys this draft. Number 4, and I feel even better about this because it came out on Twitter that the Patriots love this guy. LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell. I get he's got short arms, T-Rex arms. You know, I understand that. You know, I think he can still be a pretty good NFL tackle. And then worst case scenario, you move him inside to guard, and he's an all-pro guard. Okay. And then 5th, to round it out, Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty. I personally don't think you should take a running back this early, but Jaguars love him. It's come out that they're praying that he falls to number 5, and if he does fall, they're probably going to take him, which wouldn't be the worst move considering that they've already got some good pieces with Trevor Lawrence, Zay Jones, and some other guys. Get your franchise running back in the first round.
Mine differs a little bit. I think the Titans are going to take Cam Ward at number 1 and then go down. I think Travis Hunter, he's going to go to Cleveland as well. So I think a lot of what you said about Travis Hunter fits in that mold as well. 3 is where I think Abdul Carter is going to fall in to the Giants. And then 4 and 5, it'll be New England taking Will Campbell, in my opinion. I think he's kind of like that Peter Skoronski type. His arms are shorter, could play guard potentially in the future, but I think he's more of a tackle with those shorter arms as well. And then 5, I have Mason Graham going to the Jags. They love Mason Graham there, so And I think the Jaguars, they need everything. So D-line is a good place to start.
You and I have the exact same top 5, actually. I think that Ashton Jennings going to go to the Raiders at 6. That just seems like a Raiders kind of pick. You know what I mean? They did the same thing with Josh Jacobs a few years ago. This is one I want to talk about. At number 9, Shedeur Sanders to the Saints. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't know, man.
I don't think that he deserves to go 9, but I think that he will.
You know, like as of a few weeks ago, I would say that's probably all right. But after his pro day, some things happen internally with how he's wired and how he carries himself. NFL GMs don't like that. So I've seen him fall all the way down to the very bottom of the first round. I think that's a little too high, honestly.
My only reasoning being that you've got a new head coach, and the Saints know there's issues with Derek Carr as far as his arm goes. So I'm just concerned they might try and jump the gun, but I don't know.
I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it.
I don't think that he should go, but I think it's possible that might be the play.
Makes sense.
We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got NBA basketball and college baseball up next.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of you or your families, asking you to put yourself in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep you secure for the rest of your life. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
This is how you say, "It's going to be okay," to someone who just lost everything. That yes, we'll find you somewhere to stay. And yes, your children will have breakfast. Every 8 minutes, the Red Cross responds to a disaster and makes this promise. Help us keep it.
A smile. It's simple, really. Yet, it can do amazing things. It can show how we feel. It can brighten someone's day. It can even change the course of our lives. But what would life be like if you weren't able to smile? For more than 1 million children, this is their daily struggle. It doesn't have to be this way. Since 1999, Smile Train has been helping children experience the simple joy of a smile that so many of us take for granted. To learn how you can help Smile Train change the world one smile at a time, call or go to smiletrain.org/learn.
Yesterday, the Grizzlies and Thunder faced off for Game 1 of their playoff series, and to say that it didn't go well for Memphis would be putting it kindly. OKC dominated, winning by 51 points. Ja Morant was quoted saying, "We will never play that bad again." Fellas, are the Grizzlies cooked in the West?
Extremely. And for Ja Morant, respectfully, talk is cheap. Okay, you got to show up. But after Game 1, I don't know if you can rebound. Like you said, 51-point loss. They shot 34.4%, turned the ball over 24 times. Are you serious? Well, what is this? Like, I get it's the NBA, but come on, man. I mean, their bad defense showed, like we've been saying all season, they've got a really bad defense. OKC puts up 130. You know, and 130, like, that's not even close to as high as what they've given up this year, but you can't do that and then shoot 34% from the field. That just can't happen.
Absolutely
And this is the difference between a good team and a great team. Really, we've talked about the West a good amount of the show so far this season, and this has really been the problem with Memphis is that one, their lack of depth, and two, just the ability or the inability, I would say, to play defense. And then when the Thunder have you in a hold like that, and where they're just locking you down, there's no real chance to come back. So, yeah, Thunder in 3.
Wave the white flag.
I think a big issue, too, was that they just got manhandled in the paint. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. was held to just 4 points all game long.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they just, you know, not to mention this is the 5th biggest blowout in playoff history, by the way. I mean, it's just...
Hey, man. Grizzlies, Glizzies, OKC in 4.
Yeah, it's I don't think they're going to have a way to rebound. I don't think they're going to be able to come back from this. I think maybe they might find a way to win one game, but that would just be solely alone from some kind of Ja Morant masterclass, and even then, I don't see it happening.
The only chance I see it happening is if they steal game 2 and they go back to Memphis with it tied 1-1, because you think you can at least split, 2 games at home. You go back to OKC for game 6 and game 7, but I don't know. You've got to just wipe this away. Don't even talk about it in the meeting room, okay? Just say, hey guys, new game, game 2. Here's the game plan.
Yeah. The Vols recorded their second series loss of the season this past weekend, losing games 2 and 3 to the Kentucky Wildcats after dominating in game 1. Tennessee struggled heavily at the plate in both losses, getting outscored 12-3. Guys, what are your thoughts on this midseason slump?
The Baseballs and the Batcats, okay? Great matchup for the names and the teams. Two good baseball teams. Tennessee won 8-2 on Friday night. Liam Doyle, as always, 7 innings of really good baseball, 9 strikeouts. Game 2, Marcus Phillips, he was pretty solid, but whenever you get no run support, that's what's going to happen. Same thing with Sunday, but also the pitching was not great. So, I mean, you give 8 runs on Sunday, that's not the end of the world, but whenever you score 3, you're not going to win very many of those games in the SEC.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure in games 2 and 3, I think Tennessee had a combined 9 or 10 hits. So just the pitching was there for some part of it. Like Marcus Phillips, as you mentioned, he was there for some part of it. But just the hitting wasn't there at all, and that's all a credit to Kentucky's pitching for the most part there. But Tennessee needs to find a way to find some pitching outside of Liam Doyle that can just take control of a game, and that's the thing that needs to be looked at for Tennessee's pitching staff as a whole, is to where they can take that next step in SEC. Like, 'cause they have LSU this weekend on the road, and they have to try to find a way to win really against elite competition week in and week out.
Absolutely, and that's been the big question over the last few series has been what happened to the pitching, right? Because start of the season, Marcus Phillips and Tegan Kuntz were dominating on Saturdays and Sundays. So it's just what's happened?
I think you're getting in the dog days of the SEC schedule, best baseball conference in the country, not even close. And when you're playing those teams, even a middle-of-the-pack SEC team like Kentucky, that's going to happen. Like, the middle-of-the-pack teams are better than the top-tier teams in the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the ACC. So, I mean, it's not really cause for concern. But I've got a question for Jace. You talked about the pitching staff. Liam Doyle, obviously one of the best starting pitchers in the country. If Marcus Phillips and Tegan Kuntz cannot be elite, just be solid, can Tennessee win these kind of series against the Kentuckys and Alabamas of the world?
See, I think they can win them against Kentucky and Alabama. I don't think they can win them against teams like LSU and Arkansas and Vanderbilt. But that's where they're really different. See, that's the point with Tennessee. You got to find ways to find these starting pitchers, see if they have to move down the bullpen, and where else you want to move your starting rotations around.
Yeah.
We'll see if Vitello can get things back on track. He's done it before. We'll see again. We'll take another break from the action. When we return, we've got our hot takes of the week.
Oh, man. I can't believe I'm missing this. Okay, Grandma. I see you.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. It keeps you, your community, and loved ones protected. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Welcome back. It's time for our hot takes of the week. Jace, we'll start with you.
Well, my hot take is going to be in the NFL. We're going back to 2019 and before then. Prime DeAndre Hopkins thriving in the Houston Texans offense. Bill O'Brien is the head coach and the GM. And then he trades away prime DeAndre Hopkins for a washed David Johnson and a second-round pick to the Cardinals.
Basically a bag of chips.
It's the worst trade in sports history is what I'm getting at here, compared to the Deshaun Watson trade, compared to the Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers. I don't care. This trade is the worst because DeAndre Hopkins, for the entirety of his career, had been the best wide receiver in the NFL for that time.
I'm going to disagree. The Luka trade's pretty bad, but this is definitely worse. I'm going to go with the Deshaun Watson trade. 3 first-round draft picks, 3 years of that team's future, and they had to pay $280 million guarantee on top of it. I think that's got to be the worst
Yeah, not only that, but for him to then get suspended and not even get to play a lot of that, the contract that he's on. I'm going to say that the Luka trade's the worst, actually.
Really?
Well, you got to look at it, right? Like, the Mavs have only had 2 superstars in their whole franchise existence. First it was Dirk, then it was Luka. You literally traded away your only other star you've ever really had. I don't really see it. For a guy who probably is going to retire in the next 6 years or so, if he's lucky.
But then outside of DeAndre Hopkins, name all the superstars of the Houston Texans.
Cricket.
All right. That's a good point. You might have just convinced me.
And it's to a point where you had your head coach was the GM as well, and it was just a complete crap show of an organization at the time. I mean, they're in a much better position now, but it was crap at the time is what it was for Houston.
It happens every episode. Connor, we'll go to you now.
I'm going to say if Mike Trout did not get hurt, he would be the GOAT of baseball. Of course, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but injuries over the last 5 years has derailed his career. Since 2021, Mike Trout has missed 382 games due to severe injuries. However, if you look at his stats prior to that, and then his 162 game average on a 20-year pace, which he's going to play more than 20 years, but just on a 20-year pace with what he was averaging per season, he would have 820 home runs, 2,040 RBIs, 460 stolen bases, a 298 batting average, and a 182 WAR, which is just 0.6 short of #1 all time. Including his defense ability, the Gold Glove defense in center field. I don't think it's close. I think if he stayed healthy for a full 20-year career, he would be the best baseball player of all time, the GOAT, no question.
I absolutely agree with this. I 100% agree with this. I've been saying for a while, I think that Mike Trout, if it weren't for injuries, would be the greatest baseball player of all time. I think he's still probably, by the time he retires, going to be a top 5 player. I 100% agree.
For sure.
See, looking at this, it's like Mike Trout's like the Derrick Rose kind of the MLB, and sort of it's like a huge what if for a player. I think he's still a really good player, but obviously injuries have derailed him. I'm really torn on it, to be honest. I would say yes and no, because you just got to think of like who you're comparing him to amongst other players and MLB greats of all time. So I'll go yes and no, which I know is not really an answer. But.
Well, my question to you is, who's a better all-around player? Because he was a great fielder in his prime too. I mean,
good base runner, power. Yeah. He's a true 5-tool player, and like the stats say, if he would have kept up his pace without injuries, 820 home runs. That's way more than anyone of all time.
It's more than Barry with the juice. I mean, yeah. So
see, that's the thing is, I want to say yes, but then again, like I'm, you know what? Yeah, the more I think about it, I agree.
And we'll now go to my hot take, and my hot take is that Shedeur Sanders should not have had his jersey retired. And the reason being is not because he wasn't a great player, not because he didn't leave a great impact at Colorado. He's been instrumental in turning that program around. But the reason he's getting his jersey retired is because of nepotism in sports. He is Deion's kid, and that is the only reason. There's another quarterback for the Buffaloes who should have had his jersey retired. That's number 10, Cordell Stewart, who led them to a national championship game, 2 bowl wins, and when he retired, pretty much led every major passing category at Colorado and was one of the first big dual threat stars. If he doesn't have his jersey retired, why does Deion's kid? Well, that sentence answers it.
It's like Deion tweeted out the other day, if he wasn't my kid, we would not be having this conversation. You're right, because he would not have his jersey retired. And like me personally, I have no problem with him having his jersey retired because he leads like all the stats, but it's the timing. He's technically still enrolled at Colorado, I think. Like, he's not even been out of school yet. Why is it this early? If it's like 10, 15 years down the line, sure. Because like I said, he leads pretty much every category, passing yards, QBR, completion rate, all that good stuff. But because of who he is, his jersey is retired. So I agree with you 100%.
See, me and Connor agree once again, which is shocking to the public, which is that I think it's all timing. And I think that he should get his jersey retired at some point, maybe if it was 10 years down the road, because he leads Colorado's quarterbacks in every single statistic. He's broken every school record for a quarterback that can be broken for a Colorado quarterback. But I think it's timing, and I perfectly agree that Travis Hunt should have his jersey retired now because he's
the Heisman.
A Heisman Trophy winner. But yeah, I think it's a timing thing. I think he should have his jersey retired, just not in this instance of 2025.
Okay.
If 10 years from down the line they're a dynasty, 100% he turned the tide. But right now,
no sir.
Just nepotism.
No sir.
We'll be back here in a moment where we'll have our favorite segment. It's Connor's question after this.
Miss Lee, this is Agent Williams from the tax office. Our records show an unpaid balance on your account. If you don't pay by end of day, you'll be facing jail time. Well, the fastest way to fix this is with a prepaid debit card. Can you go get one now? Yes, and we want to clear this up. If you just buy that prepaid card, put $400 on it, then call me back and read the numbers to me.
The moment they ask for a prepaid card is the moment you know something's wrong. Think before you send money. Learn more at scamawareness.org.
We all play a role in keeping our community safe.
Every day, we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life.
It's when something doesn't seem quite right that it's time to pay attention.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so bad to the point where he had to end up in the emergency room. And he has spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy to tell people not to smoke around your kids.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
I was trying to fix all the things that were going on. Ryan's daydreaming, an inability to focus.
It was just frustrating to get my mom to understand what I was going through.
So that's when we talked to a doctor, and she was diagnosed with ADHD. It just explained so many things for us.
Hyperactivity isn't the only symptom of ADHD. Inattentive symptoms like Ryan's can be less noticeable. Learn more. Get the ADHD symptom checklist at keepmomming.com. Then talk with your daughter's doctor.
Keep momming.
It's time for our favorite segment, Connor's Question. Connor, what do you have for us this week?
Thanks, Ethan. This week, what if the Seahawks gave Marshawn Lynch the ball at the goal line? You know, if they would have given him the ball, obviously they're back-to-back Super Bowl champions. But you look at it, you would have the Legion of Boom, Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, Doug Baldwin, and Jermaine Kearse all in their primes, okay? Me personally, I think that play single-handedly ruined their dynasty, or what could have been a dynasty. The following 3 years after that, they won the division, but they went 29-18-1. You know, didn't get past like the divisional round. So, what if they would have given Marshawn the ball? Would they have been a dynasty? What would happen to them?
I think that it still would have been Seattle to the point where they would have won the Super Bowl, but I think that they would have still like fallen off a little bit. I think you still would have had the same team, but I think that it still would have been kind of like the same Seattle team in the moment of you're not going to consistently contend for Super Bowls every year, but I think that they're still going to be NFC Championship and on still winning the NFC West like they normally were.
I would say I think that it would have changed everything. I mean, because you got to think about it too. A big thing that happened from not giving Marshawn the ball at the goal line was that a lot of people questioned Pete Carroll's, his skill level as a coach, right? And so that definitely messes with free agents who might not be as interested in coming to play for a guy that they think isn't going to be able to really make good calls at the end in big moments. I think it would change everything. Because if you look at Seattle, I mean, they fell off so hard, just 2 years after that point anyway, right? You had the mismanagement of Russell Wilson for most of his career. I mean, there's just – I think it would change everything, quite honestly. I think I mean, they might even make the Super Bowl the next year after that. I mean, they were close to beating Carolina. So yeah, I think they would have been a dynasty. What do you think? I mean, you didn't really.
Me personally, I think they would have been kind of like what the Chiefs are. Only like I think they would have been better than what the Chiefs are right now because you've got Kelsey and those guys that are steadily going down in production because of their age. These guys were all under the age of 29, okay, and you had them locked up for 6-7 more years. But one thing that happens, animosity in the locker room. The interviews with Marshawn Lynch, he says as soon as that happened, he pointed at Pete Carroll and laughed in his face. You've got guys on the other side of the ball, Sherman, that sat there and cried like a baby, respectfully, and then created some drama in the locker room. You would not have had that animosity and the drama in-house. Plus, like you said, hurts the free agency. Plus, it hurts their confidence going into the playoffs. Like you think you were that close to being back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and now you've lost, given Tom Brady his ring, and you've got to figure out what next. So I think they would have been a dynasty, a little bit better than the Chiefs, longer lasting, I think they would have got 2 more rings.
I would agree with that. I mean, I think that, yeah, I mean, they had so much talent. You mentioned all their key players were under 29 at the time. I mean, you really were there.
Yeah, and I think that the way you look at it too at the time is I think Pete Carroll in his prime is a better coach than Andy Reid in his prime. I mean, that's that's debatable. Still.
No.
I mean, in his prime.
God,
we were going to go the whole episode without one.
But no, hear me out. Because of what he had in Seattle at the time. And he's going to, I'm not going to say he's going to make the Raiders good because he's not in his prime anymore. But in Seattle, he was great. They would have won. You're saying that they built a dynasty. Your whole argument is that they built a dynasty.
Yeah, but not better than Andy Reid.
Andy Reid's only dynasty ever has been to the Chiefs. And that's all because of right now.
Most coaches only have one dynasty.
Well, obviously.
All right, that's it. That's all we've got for Connor's question, but stick around for our predictions on the #1 pick as well as everyone's picks for the week.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
We're now here at our final segment of the night, and we'll start things off with our predictions for the Titans' first overall pick.
I think it should be Abdul Carter. It's not going to be. It's pretty obvious. It's Cameron Ward from Miami, but it is what it is.
It's all about the U. It's all about the U. It's going to be Cam Ward. It's not even a debate. They love him, and that's going to be their pick.
It's been out like that for weeks.
It's obvious, yeah. It's been weeks.
It's unbelievably obvious. It is Cam Ward. I agree. It's going to be the quarterback from Miami. We'll now go to our first game for picks of the week: the Grizzlies and the Thunder.
After game 1, I think the Thunder win by 20 this game. Slightly better, but you still get blown out.
As Josh said, they're never going to play that bad again. They'll only lose by 20.
Hey, the bar is very low, okay? Hey, under promise, overachieve.
They're going to win by 25.
It just has to be different. It's like every time.
I said the Thunder would win by 25.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Grizzlies.
I thought you were meaning the Grizzlies. Yeah.
No,
okay.
no.
So we're all in agreement on the Thunder. We'll go to our next game: MTSU Blue Raiders and the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vanderbilt run rules the Blue Raiders. Respect to MTSU, what Jerry Myers is building, but Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt. They're a ranked team. Doors by like 10.
Vanderbilt's coming off of a strong weekend, and I'm loving what Tim Corbin's building down there so far. They're hitting their stride at the right time, so I'll take Vandy.
Run rule in the 7th. I'm going to take the Commodores as well. And then we'll go to our final game: the Tennessee Volunteers and the LSU Tigers.
Dude, this is like one of those championship fights. You got 2 top 10 teams. Give me Tennessee to go on the road and take 2 out of 3.
It's on the road, so Tennessee can't win at home anymore. So I'll take them on the road to win because they've dropped their last 2 road series.
This is different than basketball and football.
It's different right now because they can't win at home. They're going to win on the road.
Okay. I'm going to take the Vols. Tony Vitello's teams always play pretty solid on the road. I think William Doyle has a great game to set the tone. Give me the Vols.
Yep.
That's all the time that we have for tonight. We thank you for tuning in, and remember to look for all future episodes of Sportsballin on YouTube and Blue Raider TV every week on Tuesday. For Connor Smith and Jace Vincent, I'm Ethan Markham. We'll see you around. Good night.